Welcome to the Female Founder Friday podcast, a collection of inspiring conversations with the most interesting female entrepreneurs and small business owners. I'm your host, Lindsay White, and together with my incredible guests, we'll explore the struggles of being a female entrepreneur, the most important lessons, and the future of women leaders in business. And I'm passionate about helping female entrepreneurs become the calm, confident leader their team and their business really need. And that's why I've recently launched my 6-week mental fitness bootcamp. This amazing program will help you tackle that inner critic, tame your saboteurs, tap into your sage inner voice, and really increase your positive intelligence. With a combination of a daily practice in a custom app, weekly focus to increase your awareness, and regular group coaching sessions led by me, you'll build the mental muscles you need to quickly overcome the changes and challenges you're facing today. If you're ready to transform your leadership and your life, connect with me to learn more at highvoltageleadership.ca. My guest on this week's episode is the incredible Romy Alexandra. And I've been really lucky to work extensively with Romy, and I can tell you that she is really an expert when it comes to designing amazing online learning experiences. In truth, she didn't really like online learning before the pandemic started, but like so many female founders, she had to pivot. And when the world went virtual in the spring of 2020, it was just the push she needed to get over her fear of failure, conquer her perfectionism, and embrace something new. Now she's a master of the online learning space and is really amazing at designing experiential learning experiences that make everyone feel like they are collaborating, connected, and cared for while they learn online. This is a fantastic conversation, and I know you're going to love to listen in today. Okay, amazing. Today I have with me my awesome friend, Romy, and she's a female founder. She's also a learning experience design expert, which is super cool. She's going to tell us all about it. I have had the experience. Romy and I met through a LinkedIn course, and she has been instrumental in helping me create some of my signature workshops and talks that are all about audience experience, all about audience inclusion, and her expertise has been invaluable. And she has a super cool story to tell us today. Welcome to the Female Founder Friday podcast, my dear friend. How are you?
Oh my goodness. I'm so happy I get to talk to you today, Lindsay. It's wonderful to be here, and I'm doing great. I am excited just to chat. Anytime I can chat with you, I can feel myself feeling motivated and energized already.
Awesome. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So tell us, because I know that you've just been going through a bit of an evolution. Tell us about your journey, because that's a great story.
Sure. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I will try to keep it somewhat short. So it feels like it's a long journey. I mean, as you said, I've really followed my passion over the past 10 years for training and facilitation and learning experience design, and basically up until COVID hit, I had spent 10 years working with a variety of different international organizations. I'm originally from New York, but just based on, Europe's high investment in facilitation and training, stayed here a lot to learn and grow in this field. So I spent pretty much 10 years traveling. It was wonderful. It's not like I've stopped. I'm still very passionate about traveling, but traveling all the time to, each month I was gone from home around 2, sometimes 3 weeks out of every month, delivering and designing and delivering, experiential learning trainings on a variety of different topics, such as leadership and emotional intelligence. And did this for different organizations across the globe. And it's kind of funny, but right before COVID, and I had been thinking for a long time, right? Like, okay, many people said, Romy, why don't you just, start your own training company? Why don't you go off on your own? And, we'll talk probably more about this today, but didn't want to take that leap for a while. I think it seemed like such a scary leap to take. Am I really ready to be a founder of my own company? Am I really ready to go off my own? But So what happened was, right before COVID, my husband actually got his dream job in Germany. So we recently moved to Germany, which is great. And after so many years of me traveling for work and doing all this, I said to myself, okay, this is going to be a new chapter of our life. I'm also going to move to Germany, and I'm going to find some kind of job here, local in our town, where I won't be traveling. I probably won't do much training, but I'm just going to really stay put and stay here. And then COVID happened. So I think like the week that I said, okay, here I go off on my interviews, meeting different companies, everyone's like, oh, no, we're not, no one's allowed in. We have everything closed down. Please go back home. So, but I think it was really a blessing in disguise, because training and facilitation and creating truly experiential and impactful workshops that can transform individuals and organizations' lives. I mean, that's what really drives me. That's my passion. And I think even if I had gone and got that job in here in Germany, I don't think it would have fulfilled me, and I very soon would have been off doing the same thing. But what happened was I recognized, okay, there's a real need for me to bring my work online. All of
Yeah.
my trainings had stopped. Everything had shifted online, and people recognized that the old school training and learning and development that was happening within companies was just not cutting it in the virtual space. And so I had been truly the most anti-online workshop person you can imagine. Like, seriously, anything that you can say bad about online trainings, meetings, whatever it is, I've said it, I felt it, and I recognized, okay, this is the only way we can meet. We have to figure out how I could bring
Yeah.
all the beautiful methods and activities and flow and design that I was using for my in-person workshops, how to make that come alive online. So it was kind of forced upon me in an interesting way, that I said, okay, I can't find a job anywhere else. Everything else has stopped. I think now this is fate's way of pushing me into, okay, Romy, it's your time. And I have to say, I really was so hesitant. It was so much held me back, but I'm so grateful. It was without a doubt the best decision I made. I just went here. I registered my training company here in Germany, and thanks to that, I've had the beautiful opportunity to work with incredible individuals, still on training, facilitation, learning experience design, all the things that really call me, but now in the virtual setting, and got to work with some amazing clients like you, Lindsay.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
I love that story. And that, I know, I remember when we first connected and you were talking about, hey, I don't like online spaces, but we can make this amazing. We can make this virtual space as beautiful as it is in person, as impactful as it is in person. And, you kind of put your hand up and said, I'm the first convert, right? Like you're preaching to the choir here. But we can do this. And I love what you bring to the table to help professionals like me and organizations build beautiful online experiences that people just get a ton out of.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's transformed everything, the way I look about learning in general, because I was such a naysayer. And and not even just about the online, it's also the tech piece, right? When I was doing my in-person trainings, in the very, very few times we would, you have to use a projector or something, I would say, don't even have me touch it, please. Whatever it is, I know I will destroy it. I'm not good with technology. Like,
Yeah.
please don't. And so it was also a big learning curve on how I could also train myself in all the different Zoom hacks, and how to make even all the different platforms that we use online, how to really leverage them to the best of our abilities, so that people can walk out of a meeting saying, instead of, oh, that was horrible, I'm exhausted, I'm drained, I don't want to go to another Zoom meeting, to, wow, I'm actually feeling super energized and excited and motivated and inspired and like ready to go to work. That's the kind of feeling that I want to infuse into every workshop, training, meeting, you name it, that I'm a part of.
Yeah. And that is why we connected and we are working together, because that is
Okay.
exactly how I want people to feel when they leave every online conversation with me. Like they are
Absolutely.
just like souped up and ready to roll. So I absolutely love that. So tell me, because you've had a bit of a crash course in this last, what are we at, 19, 20 months?
Yeah, pretty
Tell,
much.
where have you made some mistakes? Like, where have you screwed it up, my friend?
Oh man, so many. Where do we start? Where do we get? I think, I mean, for me when I really think about my biggest failure, if you will, is that it took me so long to do it, to actually do it. Like it actually took a global pandemic for me for me to actually do this.
Yes.
Um, because it was something that, for many years, but even, I was almost ready to launch my company the year before,
Hmm.
and I felt like I needed to have all my ducks in a row. I felt like I'm not ready yet because my website isn't where I want it. And I'm still, I yeah, everybody talks about when you're well, this is another learning lesson I have is, I because I really believed that the work that I was doing was applicable to so many different groups and audiences and topics and you name it, I think it was really hard for me to find my niche because the
Yeah.
first thing everybody tells you when you start a company is like, don't speak to the masses, find your niche, your target audience, and only speak to them. And I'd say, but literally the entire world is on Zoom right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know how to tailor this. But I think okay, so let me just go back to the first one. So first one is just like not, I think, not believing in myself enough to believe that I could do it, and that, it's okay that I didn't have everything perfectly figured out, from all the services to my exact client and target profile and you name it. I learned along the way. Those are all things that become an iterative process. Even once I thought I had it already, no, that has completely changed over the
Yeah.
course of the past 2 years.
Right. I think that that is very common. I don't think we discuss it nearly enough as female founders and entrepreneurs, but this compulsion that it has to be quote unquote perfect, it has to be organized. We have to have all the education, all the training, the ducks in a row, as you have so eloquently said. That is so ingrained in our inner critical voice, in the way we talk to ourselves, that it absolutely holds us back. And I just did it this morning. I had to get over my own voice today to send some messages. It doesn't have to be perfect. The magic is in the mess.
Wow. I mean, it's so true, Lindsay. And I think you're right. I think for many female founders, um this striving for perfection, which doesn't actually exist, doesn't set us up for success of, okay, we're striving. No, it actually sets us up for failure, because what happens is that, you can't attain it and you can't achieve it. And ultimately we're disappointed. And I think, another failure, in addition, I could talk for so much. I'm obsessed with failures because you learn from them, right? Like I really truly believe that I learned so much more from my failures than from my successes. And for me, connected with what you just said is, another big one was when I landed my first UN client, and I was working with the United Nations as a consultant. Um, I had such intense imposter syndrome for a lot of those reasons, because I was saying, am I ready? Is for success? I'm again trying to reach some kind of perfection that doesn't exist in this universe. So yeah, it's that was another big lesson. Like, just, what you're doing, Romy. Believe in yourself and you will go much farther.
Yeah, it's so true, right? And this imposter syndrome is absolutely a piece of it. It really is. It's so much deeper though, isn't it? Like it really is having the stillness, the quiet, the courage on the inside and accessing that, like really getting still enough that you can hear that voice that's like, hey, Romy, you got this. You know exactly what you're doing. You don't need it perfect. You need about a C plus is the truth, right? You need about a
Maybe
C
like a
plus.
B minus, maybe.
B minus. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. This is not a test. This is real life. And you're right. It's totally iterative because by the time you figured out and you got it perfect, shit's changed anyways.
Exactly.
Especially in the last 19 months. It's a moving target. You don't know. Nobody knows what this thing is going to look like. So I love that. And I asked that question very much with malice aforethought on this podcast, because I do believe exactly what you said. We learn way more from the places where we make mistakes, where we screw it up, where we goose it. And we can pick ourselves up and look around and be like, first of all, hey, this wasn't like nobody died. Like this is not right. Like we're not talking heart surgery here.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, hey, look there's something beautiful over here that came out of all of that mess. Oh, I guess I'll go in that new beautiful direction and leave all the crap behind. Like that is
100%.
That's exactly why I asked that question, because I think there's so much gorgeous, beautiful learning in some of the places where we just make a mess, right?
1,000%. And, and I had never, the one thing is, I think I'd be interested to find a person in this world who hasn't had some kind of insecurity in their life. But I can say, like, when it came to my work, I had never felt that before. And that was really the first time ever in my life that I had some kind of imposter syndrome, felt, I was just doubting everything. And it was a very difficult thing to go through for a few months, but I'm so grateful. Like you said, I'm so grateful I did that, because I have right now more confidence than ever in exactly what I'm doing. And a fellow facilitator said, which is so true, right? When we talk about companies and business and, being a founder, she said, the first sale you need to make to yourself, it's the first sale you need to make is to yourself, which I really, really, really believe. You cannot go out and sell your services and sell your products or sell your whatever it is that that you're offering to the world if you are not 1,000% convinced of it yourself, and you're not sure that you would buy this, that you deserve that whatever it is that you're telling yourself is not enough. That's the language we need to transform in our mind, because once I figured out, wait a sec, I went through all of that to realize I actually know what I'm doing. The client was so thrilled with what we came up with. Like, I never felt better. And I said, why did I put myself through that? But it was an amazing experience, because now when I speak to clients and I'm, going, I have so much more confidence, because I really do believe that, I learned from that experience.
You know what? That is brilliantly said. I want to say that again. The first sale that you need to make is to yourself, because that is so true. If you are not 100%, 1,000%, I think you said, convinced that what you're doing has incredible value and is absolutely amazing and is something that the whole world needs to know about and invest in and purchase and be a part of, how the heck are you going to convince anybody else?
Exactly. That's what
It
I'm
just makes
saying.
so much sense. That's brilliant. I love that. Okay, so any other lessons that you would share? Anything else that you've learned that you think other female founders need to know?
Ooh, so much. I mean, this is not so directed to being a founder, but it's more of my work as a trainer. But I think that this is just, it's really helped me in the outlook that I take for everything as a founder. When I first started working in the training and facilitation space a decade ago, I had this, again, I would put this pressure on myself that I had to be the smartest person on that topic in the room,
Right.
right? It was like,
Yeah.
that is what I'm here for. I'm literally training other people in this topic. I must be the most knowledgeable person. And so grateful through many failures over the 10 years. It didn't take me long to realize that's not actually what I'm here for. I am here to, of course, share my knowledge and wisdom and experience with others, but I'm also here to elicit, to learn from others, to hear, and to collaborate and share our common experiences and also our different experiences and learn from and with each other. And I think that is a key principle that I take not just now in my work as a trainer facilitator, but I truly believe as a founder, I am not there to again to sell somebody something. I'm there to learn and grow from them. What is it that they want? What is it that I can, what do I hear that their needs are? What can I support them with? If I can, I can be selling anything, experiential learning workshop, but I don't need to be the most knowledgeable person. Together we can work in partnership and collaboration to create something even better than what we needed. And I think that's been a really helpful mindset to take just throughout this journey.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. I do a lot of work and have for many years working, coaching, consulting with leaders, senior leaders, executives, C-suite. And the truth is, yeah, the more you live, the more you learn. But realistically, the power in leadership, and when you're facilitating training or even designing it, that's a leadership role, right? You really got to step into that. But when you can approach your leadership from a place where you don't have to be the smart, when you can let that go, that you're not the expert, there is incredible power in that, isn't there?
Power and freedom, because
Yes.
you trap yourself in this, box of, okay, as have I said the right thing? Have I imparted enough wisdom? You trap yourself, and there's a tremendous freedom and power, as you said, that comes with, I do know a lot, but there's no way I can know everything out
Right.
there in the world. And so, I really truly believe that each person I come into contact with has had some kind of life experience that I can learn from. And, learning is at the forefront of my company. I am so passionate about learning. I'd be doing a disservice by just making it a one directional way that you need to learn from
Yeah.
me because you're bringing me in. No, we should always be trying to learn as much as we can from everyone we encounter. And yeah, the results that come out from that kind of mindset are exponentially more impactful.
Well, yeah, because everyone gets to contribute. As you've said, everyone has something to offer. They feel, that psychological safety, that there's a space where that is really not even just needed, but it's really the word demanded is not the right space, but like people feel they can step in and contribute in a way that they maybe never have before. Right. And there is so much from that collective mind.
Absolutely. You said the magic word, which is the other topic I'm often training on and so passionate about, which is psychological safety, right?
Yeah.
And what that looks like, what I find so interesting is what that looks like across different cultures, across different organizational cultures, across, how do you really foster it, in any interaction, whether it's a one-on-one, a group, whoever I'm working with, that is really at the forefront of everything. I need to make sure, before we start working together, before you feel safe to open up, to be vulnerable, to take risks, to fail, and we're going
Yeah.
to do it together.
I love that. That's a topic near and dear to my heart. First of all, because as a coach, that is what I ultimately create with every one of my clients is a space of safe. I hold that space for them, and it is a safe, open, non-judgmental, but also no BS space, right? Like whether that's one-on-one in a group, when I'm in front of an audience, that is absolutely key. And so many organizations, I think, misinterpret that psychological safety and what that actually means. It gets
And
bantied around. Yeah, you're shaking. She's shaking her head because I know that you encounter this. Like
You're gonna
what's your definition of that? Tell me what you talk about when you talk about psychological safety.
Ooh, I mean, let's say the definitions that I love. Well, actually, there's one that I really love by Timothy Clark. He says psychological safety is an environment of rewarded vulnerability versus
Beautiful.
versus punished, right? Many people are indirectly, sometimes very directly, and sometimes indirectly punished for their vulnerability
Yeah.
at work. And I really do love that one, just because it's so simple. But for me, when we're talking about psychological safety, it's about creating the container for people to feel that they can show up, they can be honest, they can be vulnerable, they can take risks, they can fail, they can express themselves. I mean, I can think myself of, over my career, how many different organizations and companies I worked with where there was no psychological safety. So what happened? I didn't speak up to disagree with a colleague
Yeah.
because I didn't feel, I was worried I might be punished, or I wasn't 100% honest with my colleagues about my opinions on the direction we we're going. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, if everyone feels this way, like I don't want to, but now I learned that as a founder, it's amazing. It's because well, at least my company, I'm a consultant now. What I love doing is going in and working with different teams and organizations and also individuals, but making sure that they see that that's a priority, right? We as leaders, and you said facilitators, founders, leaders, it's all the same.
Yeah.
We have to create that container. We have to set it, and we have to role model vulnerability. I think that is what is so key. Too often, like, you hear people coming into a meeting like, this is a safe space or everything. Don't you dare tell me. I want you to show me it's a safe
Yeah.
space. And a key way you can show me is by role modeling yourself. I want to see you as a leader taking risks and being open and comfortable with failure. And particularly in right now with, COVID and everything that's going on, even sharing, I think more and more leaders are seeing the benefits of sharing openly about their own mental health and their own, challenges that they're facing during COVID, because that is something that literally the entire world is facing right now. And if our leaders are not talking about it, we're not going to feel comfortable talking about it either.
No, it's so true. And the payoff is so enormous when we as leaders, founders, CEOs, when we step into that space where we open the door. I mean, we're not talking about I'm going to show up and cry every day on the morning Zoom call. Like, that's not right. Like, I think people get the wrong impression. It's really about saying, hey, I am having a really crappy day. I'm struggling. I'm not feeling great. Right.
Exactly.
Like, and I'm like, the truth is I'm probably too authentic on this, but don't ask me how I am if you don't want to know the real answer. Because if I'm not feeling awesome, I'm not going to tell you I'm fine. I'm going to say, actually, it's Monday. It's kind of a gray, cold day outside, and I'm just feeling off. Like, that is the truth. Now, I'm feeling better because I'm talking to my friend Romy this afternoon, but like, that's just acknowledging that, yeah, I'm just, I feel like I could just go back to bed today. And when we create a space like that, everyone jumps in.
Absolutely. And I, and it inspires people, right? Like, I really appreciate, I'm truly grateful that you just shared that with me, right, Lindsay? Like, and that already has me feeling more connected to you. But you make a very good point about this relationship between vulnerability and leadership, that there is something as too much.
Yeah.
Only because not that you were doing great. I didn't think that, but I mean, we all need to find our threshold, because I've also seen the opposite. I've seen amazing leaders be open and vulnerable, like you just were sharing, here's how I've been feeling and here's what's been happening, and seeing how the team kind of rallies around, and the strength that can come from that, which is beautiful. And then on the opposite side, you can have like an oversharing leader that's, so down, there's no end in sight, everything is bad, everything's wrong. At that point, it doesn't create a psychologically safe space. In fact, it does the opposite, because the team is saying, is this the right leader to help us through, right? Like at some point, this person has gone, so it's been so much, so intense, and no answers are kind of there. The people start to lose a bit of trust. So, there's an amazing book called I think I always call it Emotions at Work. Oh no, but it's not, that's not the title. It's called No Hard Feelings,
No.
by Liz and Molly, and they're it's amazing. And so there's a beautiful image of a leader actually on this tightrope, trying to find that happy balance of vulnerability, and I believe that you don't always have to, sometimes we need to vent. I mean, we're human beings. We need to vent. We need to express our emotions. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the way we do it and how we do it can really make the difference between empowering and uniting a group and losing trust and dividing. So some example I often give is, a leader could walk in to a meeting, which I definitely have done this over the past year, and just said, I just want to be open and honest with the team that I'm having a really bad day. Like something that happened that had nothing to do with anyone here. I don't need to tell you. We don't need to go into all the details, right? But I just wanted to let you know that I'm a little more on edge than I typically might be. And therefore, I'm just asking for a bit more patience or compassion, because what happens is we have something called emotional contagion. And so things that can happen in our personal life easily spread into our professional life, and vice versa.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's something we don't think enough about, but, as human beings, we have the ability to, actually infect others with our emotions, whether it's a very pleasant emotion that we may feel, love to experience, or a very unpleasant emotion. And it's very often that things that happen from our personal life, especially with, right now, these blurred lines, like, okay, I'm at work, but I'm actually still in the house, and there's a million things happening in the house, and all of that stress and tension from what's happening behind your Zoom screen can easily transmit into what's happening in your team meetings. And so sometimes it's just really helpful, and of course always vice versa as well. I can easily bring home to my husband all the stress of what happened at work. And so I think there's just a lot of value in being open and honest and saying, hey, I'm having a really bad day, or I'm a bit on edge, so I want to apologize if, I'm not sure, I hope I don't offend anyone with this. I don't need to go into, all the nitty gritty details of all the crazy things that are happening in my personal life, but I can at least be open and honest about that. And I think that cements a lot of trust within a team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it does. That cement is exactly the metaphor, isn't it? It really makes it very concrete. I love that. I want to ask you one more question before I let you go. And you've sort of answered this all along, but what does leadership mean to you? And how do you lead?
Ooh, I mean, it's a great question. I think, I'm a big fan. I'm sure you're familiar. I'm a huge fan of Brene Brown's definition of leadership, right? Yeah, I see you nodding
I would
your
totally stalk her. If I lived in Texas, I would be her stalker for real. Love her.
Me too. We'll be her stalker club together. But I mean, I really would love to not stalk her, but I would love to just actually enjoy her company and just chat about all this great stuff with her. But what I love is her definition of leadership is anyone who takes responsibility for recognizing the potential in people. Mm-hmm. And then she says, and they have the courage to develop that potential. Mm-hmm. So it's what I love about it is that, for this first word alone is anyone. I just think if we just stopped there, it seems so trivial, but in so much of the work that I did when I was designing and leading leadership trainings was just on how do we reshape the way we think about it? Because I feel that far too often leadership is associated with a job title and a position and power. And it's very much this top-down approach. And when I think about leaders and leadership, it's really everyone and anyone can be a leader. It's really, I'm thinking not top down, I'm thinking bottom up. How do I show up at, okay, now I'm a founder, but how did I used to show up at work and, try to, be a positive influence even in my manager's life? How do I show up every day and, not lead down to, but lead, horizontally with my colleagues, and like, how do we all support each other? I think that is so important. And this piece about recognizing other people's, potential and developing that potential, I think it just encompasses everything I see as a leader. It's not a boss. It's anyone can be a leader. I've seen leaders who are incredible waitresses at restaurants. I've seen I've seen incredible leaders at grocery stores. I've seen incredible leaders in hospitals. I mean, you name it. There are leaders all around us that are just often not getting recognized enough because we've made leadership a job title. We've made it a position of power, not actually about the human approach and the human, potential development that I think is so key.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love this definition too, because although the word isn't used, it really calls forth the connection that it takes to lead, and that everyone is capable of that connection. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought that piece in, Lindsay, because connection is so important. All the topics that we've been talking about today, from emotions, emotional contagion, self-confident, all of that comes together when I think about, you cannot lead a team that you don't feel really truly connected with. Or you can try, but I'm telling you the results will not be as good if the team doesn't feel connected to you.
Yeah.
So I really see, that connection piece, the psychological safety, bringing your full self, your emotions, your authenticity, all of that is, totally connected with the leadership piece. You cannot have one without the others.
Oh, I love it. I really love that. That is such a great way to end this conversation today. Thank you so much for your time and all of your beautiful thoughts. Like, this is really compelling work. And I see how you weave leadership throughout everything you do, every, training or design moment, or every workshop you lead. You lean into that as a leader, and that just shines through today. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay. That's really sweet of you to say. And thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It means a lot. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and especially about all these topics that I love. I know we could geek out for much longer, but
we have a 3-hour podcast. No, oh my goodness. No, but totally. It's beautiful to spend time with someone who I know is at least as passionate about this stuff as I am.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and looking forward to many more chats like this between us.
Yeah, me too. Me too. To everyone tuning in today, thanks for listening to the Female Founder Friday podcast. I really love Romy's definition of leadership that includes really that anyone can lead as long as they're ready to take responsibility. And you can find out more about my friend Romy on LinkedIn. Just search for Romy Alexandra. And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn as well, or on Instagram, and my handle there is @HighVoltLeadership. The Female Founder Friday podcast has a goal to impact 1,000 listeners, and it would mean the world to me if you left this episode a 5-star review and shared it with all your friends. Let's engage 1,000 female entrepreneurs and really amplify the message. Thanks so much for being a part of the show today, and don't forget to connect with me at highvoltageleadership.ca.